Hey guys, welcome again to the FIFA Sage. Hope you're all doing alright. Today I'll be revealing to you the best controller settings for FIFA 22. I should have dropped this video sooner, but I actually had to take my time to see if there's any significant changes in function and effectiveness of each selection. So I finally come up with the most efficient controller settings for quick reaction time, more ball retention, and less awkward touches and mistakes. So I'll go through the entire settings and explain both the newly added ones and the pre-existing settings, as well as which selection is best for FIFA 22. So stick around. So today's subscriber shout out goes to No Ali Legend. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. We're really glad to have you in our community. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, kindly smash the subscribe button down below and turn on the notification bell if you're into FIFA gaming tutorial, because that's what this channel is all about, and so you get notified when I upload new videos. So let's keep right into the video. So the first item on the controller setting is the competitive master switch. Simply put, this automatically turns on while you're playing online, and once it does, a few of the settings are locked. That means they can't be turned on. The likes of the agile dribbling, the auto clearance, the auto flare pass, auto shots, assisted headers are all turned off automatically, and as well as jockey, which switches to manual from assisted. So EA added this feature to more or less level the playing field in online gaming by switching off a lot of assisted features, so gamer skill can come in play. Or if you're playing offline, the career mode and the likes, you might want to switch it off so you can make some adjustment to the previously locked settings. But I advise you play with the competitive master switch being on, so you can get the hang of not using those features that are locked and improving how to jockey manually and take more responsibility for your controls, and get rid of those training wheels in FIFA if you want to improve. So that being said, if you're playing offline and your competitive master switch is turned off, I advise you play with your agile dribbling being off. Sometimes you want to make a sharp turn and the player gets sloppy. Instead of making a quick backward turn, start to draw the ball awkwardly. It could really make you lose possession of the ball oftentimes, because when dribbling you just want to move the ball to a particular direction without any drag associated with agile dribbling. Don't get me wrong, the agile dribbling is very effective for beating defenders, but you should be intentional about it by holding your finesse button down to trigger it. So the agile dribbling only happens when you want to use it. So for agile dribbling, it should be turned off. For auto clearance, this is not really so effective in FIFA 22 because they don't do a lot of clearing by themselves, but I suggest you turn it on, because in some cases where the ball is in a dangerous place and you're not quick enough to press the clearance button, the AI might perform a clearance for you, so that could be useful sometimes. So for the auto flare pass, in my experience, that should be on too. It's more or less a skillful pass, not a typical direct pass, but it's mostly useful when you want to give a back heel pass or simply do a delayed or skillful pass to another player. Then for auto shot, that should be on too. It's not really active though, but still you can leave it on in case of simple tapping. Then for assistant header, that should be on too. Then for your jockey, I think it's best to practice with the manual jockey than the assisted, because the assisted helps you stay closer to the player you are marking, but when it's manual you are mostly on your own. But since it's locked at manual when the competitive master switch is on, try getting better using the manual jockey. If you can do that, when it's on assisted, it will be a lot easier. If you don't know what jockeying is, you can watch my defending tutorial where I explain a bit more about it. So for the defending, if you want to be an elite player, you should be using nothing other than the tactical defending. Other than the fact that it's the only defending you can use while playing online, it's still the best in the game in terms of helping your players retain their position, timing a tackle, and just improving your defending overall by trying to cut passing lanes, position your players to block a shot, or whatever the case may be. Tactical defending is simply the best. The legacy defending is not bad, but it has so many shortcomings and you don't even have full control of your defense. So if you be using the legacy defending for a while now, you should try switching to tactical defending and really go at it and try to master it. So for the next, through pass assistant, you should leave this at assisted, because sometimes the diagonal through passes can get messy when it's on manual. So for the through pass, it should be assisted. So for timed finishing, it's a thing of preference. Timed finishing is when you have to tap your shoot button twice, the first time to load the power, while the second tap, which is the timed tap, to determine the quality of the shot. That means how well the shot will go and the level of error that will be in it. So if your second tap of your shoot button is timed properly, you get an amazing shot. It's really useful and effective when you're trying to score volleys and long range shots, but it takes a bit of practice to get the hang of it. So you could try it out and see if it's something that resonates with your gameplay, or you could simply just turn it off and your shoot button will be the regular shoot, where you just tap your shoot button once to load the shot power, and that's that. Personally, I like leaving it off because sometimes it's a bit delayed when the goalkeeper is rushing in, and if you haven't mastered it, will screw up a lot of chances for you. So the verdict on time finishing: if you want to master it, take out some time to practice it. If it's something you like, you can leave it on, but I advise you just turn it off to get easier finishes. Then the next player switch indicator. This is another indicator that shows on the head of the next player the cursor will switch to whenever you tap L1. It's really useful when defending, so you know who the cursor is switching to next and make a right stick switch if necessary. So this one depends entirely on what you like. If you like seeing the indicator in your gameplay to know who you're switching to next, you can leave it on. But for defending, I mostly use right stick switching, so I don't really need to know the next player is switching to. I just switch the cursor with my right stick. So that's why I turn mine off, but you can leave yours on if it's what you are used to. And then for the pass block assistant, there's a little debate about this one, but I'll tell you plain and simple: if you really want to be good at defending, you have to turn this off, because sometimes when defending, you're moving your player to try and mark an attacker, and then it does a fake shot. You notice your defender will make a very weird stop animation attempting to block a pass or a shot. This animation occurs even when the player doesn't pass the ball. The major problem with this is a simple fake shot can get your defender completely out of position and stuck. So what you want while defending is, while you're jockeying your player, they stay moving until you go for the tackle, not those awkward stretches and stop trying to intercept passes. Sometimes it works, they intercept a few passes, but it really does more damage than good. So for auto switching, this year EA changed it up a bit. We now have air balls only, loose balls only, and on air balls and loose balls. But the best is still on air balls and loose balls, because you want the cursor to switch so your players on time, so you can contest for headers and also move the closest player to the ball when the ball is loose in the pitch. So then moving on, for auto switching move assistant, you should leave this in high. The move assistant is simply while you're controlling the player. If you're running towards any direction with the player the cursor is on, possibly you're tracking back to block a through pass. If you switch the cursor to another player, the AI in the game keeps that initial player running to that same direction. This is really useful while defending. You could sprint the player towards an attacker, then change the cursor to bring another player in to defend, while the AI keeps sprinting that player towards that direction. So auto switching move assistant should be on high. Then clearance assistance should be on directional, so whenever you try to clear the ball, it doesn't just fly to any random place in the pitch, but it takes into account the direction imputed in your controller and clears the ball towards that direction. This is very useful for counter attacks and quickly getting the ball to your players upfield while you've broken free from your opponent's attack. Then for player lock, you should really leave this on. The player lock feature is very useful while you're attacking, because you can simply just let the AI take control of the player with the ball while you manually make runs with your player, and once you're in a good position, request for the ball from the AI. It also have several applications you can use in-game, like for 1-2s and build-up plays. You should practice using it. It is activated by clicking both analogs, that is pressing down R3 and L3 simultaneously. And when that is done, you can flick the right stick to whichever player you want to control and press the pass button to request for a pass. Icon switching should be off. Then right stick switching should be ball relative instead of player rotation or player relative. Simply use the position of the ball as a reference point to determine where your right stick will switch to. So leaving it in ball relative is so easy to switch directly to your defenders and your fullback to track runs and stop dangerous passes. So for right stick switching, ball relative. Then for ground pass assistance, that should be assisted. Shot assistant, assisted. Cross assistant, you can leave this in semi, but the assistance this year is pretty good, so assisted will be fine. Low pass assistance, assisted. save assistance, assisted of course. Putting the save assistant in semi means you have to manually position your goalkeeper most of the time, and that could be really hectic when you're trying to defend at the same time. So leaving it in semi will leave you prone to long range shots because your goalkeeper will most likely be out of position most of the time. And then for an analog sprint, they should be turned off because you want your player sprinting at the maximum speed at all times whenever you hold the sprint button. So analog sprint off. Then for pass receiver lock, you should leave this in late. If you put the pass receiver lock in early, the initial direction you use when you execute a pass will be the direction the pass goes, regardless of how long it takes the player to kick the ball. When it's in late, you could change the direction of the pass at the last minute. Possibly you want to pass to the center and you notice your player in the center isn't open anymore. You can simply change the direction of the pass and lend the ball to another of your player in a better position. As long as your player hasn't kicked the ball, the direction can be changed even at the last second. So this comes really handy when building up play. The controller setting highlighted in this video is guaranteed to improve your gameplay and reduce as much error as possible while you're in a match. So that's all for today guys. Hope you found this video helpful. If there's any part of my explanation you didn't understand or you want me to explain a bit further, you can ask down in the comment section. And please give this video a like. So kindly subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I upload new tutorial videos. Thank you for watching. Cheers.